Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Nigel with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, but you knew that already, didn't you? So, part 16 now, I believe, of this build, and I can't believe it's been nearly a month since I did part 15. Time has just flown by, but in the meantime we've practically built a chieftain tank and some other bits and pieces as well. So when I left you in part 15, I'd given these an undercoat of gloss aluminium paint, LP70 I think it is. Yes, gloss aluminium LP70, and that's all ready. We're going to spray some hairspray on there and get it chipped. I have actually, if you remember my hairspray, Tresemme number 3, that lost all its pressure. So I drilled a hole in the bottom of the can and I've decanted all my hairspray into old Tamiya paint jars, and there's about 5 of these was in there. So we let it degas overnight, otherwise it's just all full of bubbles. And then put the lid back on and we're good to go. So we can just pour it in the airbrush now, spray it on, job done. Now the other thing I've done, which is really stupid, I painted all this area in here green. I wanted to paint in there green, but this area around where the guns are and everything, this is all going to be chipped to hell as well, because they took the guns in and out, and obviously the ammo can bins and that went in and out. So this is all going to be chipped here, and also all of this here will be chipped. So what we need to do is spray this with silver, give it a couple of hours to dry, and then we'll go on and do our hairspray chipping. So I'll spray all this green again, and then I'll spray these red and yellow, whatever, and then we'll come back after a few hours and do some chipping. I also want to look at how I drill the barrels out for the master barrels, and we're also going to have a look at how we're going to do all this, because I really don't want those guns sticking out the front of the wing when I want to sand the leading edge. So I'm hoping to be able to put the guns in and then feed the barrels in afterwards if I can find the hole. Misses. So there we go, watch this space, and I'll be back in a minute and all this will be painted silver. Okay, so there's all our parts painted silver. I masked off that area in there because that won't be chipped or anything in there, obviously. So we will get those, let those dry. We've got all our boxes here, ammo boxes all ready for painting as well. So looking at fitting these master barrels, these are the beautiful Master 50 cals, and they've got the tubes on the end. So, and as you can see, they all stick out the wing, so we've got to try and make this work without them. So it's telling you what to do is drill out the proper hole and glue to the body. Right, so normally you would be really fussy about this. These, it doesn't really matter because you're not really going to see much of them, but you want to try and get the hole in the centre if you can. So the way I do this, they're obviously telling you to cut the barrel off flush. So they're telling you to cut the barrel off here, flush with that bulge there, okay? So what I'm going to do is cut it slightly proud, only about ½ mil. So throw that horrible plastic barrel away, and then just get a sanding stick and just lightly sand the end. Okay, so now you can see against that black paint we've got a beautiful circle, so we can take a pointed tool and find the centre of that circle and just do it by eye initially. I can see now that needs to go over this way, and what we can do is move the point around until we think we've got the actual hole on centre, like so. Okay, so I'm going to move it down a bit. Looks like it's a little bit off. As I say, with these it doesn't really matter because you can't really see much of it. So I'm still not happy that's on centre. Some idiot riding around outside on a motorbike on a scrambler. Do you know, I spoke to the police about this because it's bloody annoying when they're out there 10 o'clock at night doing it. And the police said, can you get the registration number? I said, registration number, mate? They're scramblers, they're probably stolen. You know, and he went, what do you think he said, the copper? He said, well, if they've got no registration number, what do you expect me to do? And that for me just sums it up. Once you've got a registration plate on your vehicle, you're buggered, because they get you at every single corner with a camera. If you haven't got a registration plate, like an e-scooter or electric bike or whatever, tearing down the road, knocking down old ladies, whatever, then that's okay because you haven't got a registration plate. They can't catch you. But again, the other side of the law, I mean, e-scooters on the road and electric bikes and all that apparently are illegal. And if the police chase you and you die, the police get done because they shouldn't have chased you. I mean, what are they supposed to... It's like, where's the world going? It's bloody crazy. There we go. Right, so we got a 1mm hole in there now. Did I draw these at 1mm as well? Yeah, they just look smaller because it's been sanded. And then what we do, so we've got the hole in the centre there nicely. And then what we do is just come along and sand until we remove that raised area. And then we just clean the hole out. Just like so, and then we can fit our barrels and they'll look lovely. I'm not going to put them in yet because we've got to open the packet up and show you. I'll do it all when we're ready to fit them in because we've got to see how we're going to actually manage to get these in. So I'll carry on and do the other 3. I've got 3 done, 3 to go. I'll get the other 3 done and then I'll see you in a minute. Let's see how these guns look with the barrels on. So we got, first of all, we've got the inner barrel going on, so that's going to glue into there. I'm not going to glue them in now, obviously. And then we've got the outer cooling jacket going on. That's going to slide. It says it will slide over there, will it or not? Yes, it will. It's good to turn them as you're putting them on, then you sort of deburr the bore. There we are. And then you've got that beautifully machined end on there, which is lovely. And then of course on these they've got the blast tubes. So that's going to go over that one, like so. So you can have that sticking out the wing. And then the next one, come here. Next one's going to look very similar. Put the jacket over. There we go. Doesn't want to go, does it? Let's. There we go. Should go now. What it is, when they drill those holes on the side, you often get little burrs on the inside, and that's unavoidable. And if they took the time to deburr them, it would probably double their cost. So obviously they are beautifully made, these little things. They've got a belt, a sort of belled over end on them. So there's that one. So that's the middle one. See those 2 hoses on my mountain? Mine's the middle one. And then that's going to go over there like that. That's going to go like that. So there's your 3 guns. I'll put them in my hand so you can see them. There we go. So there they are. As you can see, they are so much nicer than the plastic ones. And these have all slidden apart. Look. Obviously they'll be glued when you put them in properly, but I don't want to glue them now because I want to clean them up, blacken them, whatever, paint them, whatever I'm going to do, I don't know yet. So there we are. Beautiful. Really, really nice. So what we've got to work out is if we can actually get these guns into here. Like so, for example, the shortest one is going to go in. It's going to go with its back out there, like so. And then we need to be able to, there's the shortest barrel there. We need to be able to feed that through there and into there, but it shouldn't be a problem because obviously we can come inside the wing and just do that. I've got a feeling maybe I've got that too far back, that barrel. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. So that's how that one's going to go. But it's showing here that it's actually on the edge of the wing. Oh, I see. I've got it wrong. It's not that barrel. It's that barrel. It's the one that isn't rolled over on the end. Come out. It's like it's glued in there. Very strange. So it should be this one that's going to go in there. And according to the the instructions here, it looks like that barrel sat on the edge of the wing, but it can't be, because I think I've got that gun in the right position. Okay, I know what's going on. I've got the blast tube pushed back too far. So I'm going to push that into there and then pull the blast tube out, and it's coming with the barrel off. For God's sake. I think you know what I mean. Oh dear, dear, dear. That's going to go over there like that. And then the blast tube will come out and sit like that. There we go. There we go. That's how it's going to go. So the plastic part that you put in there, leave that out, don't fit it. So there we are. So that's how that's all going to look. So it's going to be a bit of a tricky one. I think the middle one should be okay because we can get in there, and but the shortest one, which is that one, I'm guessing we'll just have to feel it. Feed it in. Yeah, we can feel it and feed it in just like that. So that's going to be that. Right, I'll get all this put away and then we'll come back and do something else. And I also went on and painted the inside of the gun bay doors ready for chipping, and also the support rods that go across the top, and the ejection chutes for the cartridges. So they're all done now. They're going to stay silver apparently, and then all this is going to get done green, and then we're going to chip it. So I've got to let that paint go off, and then we do some hairspray. So we'll leave that over there to go off. Here I've put some black oil on the wings. And the reason I've done that is they got sink. This one's not as bad as that one. There's sink marks everywhere, all around here, where all this undercarriage bay is, where it goes from thick to thin plastic. So what I've done is put some oil wash on there so I can see where the rivets are, and then I can get my pointed tool, wherever it may be. It's over here. I can get my pointed tool, and then I can go in, and I know where I'm going to sand. I can just go over the sanding stick and I can see the high spots because they'll come out lighter. So I can go into these and then just give them a little prod. And that will get the indentation a little bit deeper, so that when we sand it they don't disappear. And that's the way to go with all of it. So there we go. Just do that. And I find this easier to do this rather than eradicate it and then try and put it back in at the end. It's easier while you've got a guide there. You could just do each individual one. You don't have to worry about the spacing and using rivet tools and stuff. You can just do them like that. And if you see any start to disappear, you can get in there with a tool and do them straight away. Like here, I run a risk of losing them. Let's just go across there, like so. And then once we see our sanding stick sanding all the plastic, we know we got rid of the sink marks. I wouldn't worry about this if this was FAA, because it would be matte, but this is going to be gloss, so it's all going to show up. It's going to stick out like a sore thumb. Now that one there, I think I might put some Mr. Surfacer in there, because that looks to be quite deep, that undercut there. So I think I'll put some Mr. Surfacer in that one. I'll just sand it a bit more. You can see the line is staying in. This is where the oil wash comes in handy. There was some shrink marking around here. There it is up there, look. So we'll come across here. Have I just done those? I think I have, haven't I? That was those I did, wasn't it? So and I'll just go on and do that over the entire area. We've got sink marks across here as well where the wing spar goes in. This is the trouble with this bloody Airfix soft plastic. I'm so glad they've stopped using it. You can see here where the sink mark is there, look. See, I can sand there and it leaves a thick black line behind. So there we are. don't think I'm going to lose any of that rivet detail. There's no rivet detail going across, so just keep going. We've got a slight stress skin effect here, which is handy, so we can sort of sand into that. But we want to get rid of all the sink marks that we can, because as I say, it's going to be glossy blue, and it's going to be it's going to look a right mess if it's got sink marks all over it. I can feel them there, they're that bad. Yeah, you can see it there. See the high area there, and you can see down here it's not touching it at all. So I'm gonna, God, I came out of the line. Let's get some proper scribing. I'll do this off camera. I'll get some proper scribing tools, rescribe that, do the sanding, and get it all nice and flat. Okay, right. So I've got my airbrush here with hairspray in, as you can see. So I've painted all the time. I've masked off these strips here because they remain silver, so we don't need hairspray on them. I've masked off around here so I don't get hairspray all over the plastic, so we can chip that. I'm also going to chip this here a bit as well, and then we can do these bays. As I said, I've gone down and done the door, so we're going to hairspray them as well. I've masked off where the actual bullet goes using the VMS liquid mask. This stuff is bloody awesome because it's got such a small nozzle. I literally went in with the nozzle. I should have filmed it so you could see, but I literally went in with the nozzle and just ran around and filled them in, and then just a couple of touches with a toothpick to get into the corners and that after. It's absolutely brilliant. I don't want the hairspray going in there because I don't know how it will react when I come to brush paint. The liquid in the brush paint may get the hairspray going, and I'll just keep rubbing the paint off. So what we'll do is we'll keep them masked, and then when I do the yellow and the red, I'll take the masking out so that we get the yellow and the red going down the sides as well. So just going to check my flow. Got about 18 psi. It's better to check it on your finger actually with stuff like this because it's clear, you can't see it. So I'm just going to go over these toolboxes with the hairspray. Come in from all the angles because we might want to chip the edges and stuff. I'm not chipping the green bit because I don't think you're going to see it, to be honest, so I'm not too worried about that. So give them that one coat, so that's the one coat on that, that'll do. We'll do a coat on here. So you can't see if any hairspray is coming out because it's dead clear and dries in seconds. That's that. And it smells lovely. This is the Tresemme number 3, which is what Rinaldi says to use. I've got some Tresemme number 5 over there, and it doesn't work anything like as good. So I believe Mr. Rinaldi. Let's get some hairspray on this front cross member. If you haven't, or spar should I say, if you haven't seen chipping before and you want to see it in more detail, I've just done one of my beginners videos. I think it was number 11 I did on chipping. So go and have a look at that, and it tells you all about it. What thinners to use and what paints to use and how it all works. There we go. I've got some on here as well. And I'm only doing this now because it's easier than masking it all up afterwards. I'm probably going to have to do some repainting on here anyway because of the joints where these pieces join onto the top of the pieces in here, but we shall see. So we'll make sure we get into all the nooks and crannies in here. There we go. So that's them done, and we can do the doors. Let's get this wing out of the way so we don't get it covered in hairspray. Get some on these doors. We also have the one-man army mask set for this model, and it's got the numbers. Instead of using decals, you could use the masks. So, a little bit left in there. Have a quick blast over that to make sure we've got all the bits and pieces. Same again here. Liquid blast on these doors. And there we go. So we'll leave that to dry for 2 or 3 hours, and then we can start looking at doing some painting. So this is all going to be green. So this will be the Mr. Hobby, I think, mixed with water. And then this will be the red and yellow. So I'll use Tamiya for that, and I'll mix it with Tamiya X22A, or X20A, isn't it? X20A. So there we go. Right, so I'll see you when we come back to do some painting. Right, so we've had our hairspray on here now and it's had a chance to dry. So the next thing to do now is to get rid of, what have I done with my cocktail stick? I had it here a second ago, there it is. We need to get rid of this masking fluid because I don't want to have the masking fluid in there when I spray the red and the yellow, because I want the red and the yellow to get down into that, sort of in and around there. So you can see how good, this is the VMS? Yeah, VMS, just didn't sound right when I said it. The VMS masking fluid is absolutely brilliant. Look, just grab a corner, just roll it up, even though this is a really complex shape in here and it's got lots of nooks and crannies to hold on to. And then we just grab it with a pair of tweezers and out it comes in one piece. We've got a perfect mould there of our guns, of our bullets, should we say. So these are going to be painted yellow and red. Now, I've had a look online and I did find a post, an article online posted by Kermit Weeks, and he'd actually just bought a load of old ammo boxes, and there's pictures of them on Facebook on the bench, and it looks like the whole box was red or yellow. Now Airfix are telling us here to paint the sides of the boxes green and then the tops red or yellow. So I'm sort of tempted to take the masking tape off, because when you look at Kermit Weeks' pictures, the whole box is red and yellow. It hasn't got green sides. But what I don't know, because I can't find a picture of a Hellcat with no box in it. Actually, yes, there is one in my walk around, isn't there? I don't know if there's like an aluminium box that the box sits in, and that's what we're trying to depict. But looking at it, you can't really see down in there anyway, so I don't think I'm going to worry about it. But just worth noting if you are after the ultimate in accuracy. The other thing I can't find is the reason why they're different colours. The only thing it says in the walk around book is they're colour coded according to size, and it does appear that everybody that's built one of these Hellcats at any scale that's got the guns exposed, the rearmost boxes are yellow and the other two are red. So I can only assume these two are the same height, and that one is slightly shorter because of the form on the wing. So that might be why it is. If they put a red one in there and try and close the flap down, it probably won't close. So I'm thinking that's what, because they're all 50 cals. I mean, I'm imagining they carry different types of weapon. You'd have like armour piercing and all that. But I can't find, it's all something I can't stand on the internet. It's all opinions. And, you know, if I want to give an opinion, I will say, in my opinion, I don't think Airfix did this because blah 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 blah. I won't say Airfix did this because, I will say in my opinion. And this is the problem, and that's why I say in one of my videos, if I ask you a question, I say please tell me, if you really know the answer, please tell me. If you think something, please don't mention it, because I'm not, it doesn't matter what somebody thinks, you know, what matters is what someone knows. It's like in my Sea King review I've recently done for the brand new Airfix Sea King, I asked on there, why is one rotor blade yellow? I've got the crew, so the crew can see the blades going around when they're flying close to mountains. I've got so the ground crew can see the blades going around, so the crew can see the blades going around when they're in formation. And then someone else said it's the one yellow blade is the one that doesn't fold. And you think, well, that sounds sensible. And then someone else has said yellow is the master and they measure the others from that or something. And this is what I'm saying, there's so many different opinions. They could all be right, that's the problem. But they could also all be wrong. So you just never know. But, anyway, The best argument I ever had was somebody tried to tell me the B-52 has 3 cockpit levels. Okay. They said, yeah, I've been in one. I've been in. I've sat on the bottom floor, the middle floor, and the top floor. Okay. There we go. So anyway, I'm going to get these painted, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to spray these with XF7 and XF3. So I'm going to spray these with the red and yellow. I'll probably tone this down a bit with a drop of white because it looks a bit too bright. And get these painted, and then we'll let them dry for a while, and then we'll do some chipping. I'm also going to paint these in the with the number 58, Mr. Hobby 58. Where is it? Here it is. Some paper in the way. Mr. Hobby Aqueous. I'll mix that with a drop of water, and we'll spray in there with the green, and then we can leave it a little while and do some chipping. We'll spray the inside of these doors as well. I'll put them over here so I don't forget them, and there we go. So I'll see you in a second when I've got all that done. You can, I was watching, I've done a video about it, about chipping. You can actually use lacquers for chipping, but it makes it a lot more difficult to chip. And the problem with that is when it makes it more difficult to chip, you're more than likely going to take the silver paint off underneath. So you want something that's going to chip nice and easy, so you can just gently touch it with a stick or something and it comes off. If you have to start really working it, like you'll see in my video, if you go back and watch the beginner's video, I think it's part 11, you will see that when I try and push really hard, it actually takes the paint away. So the other thing I haven't done here, I haven't clear coated the silver before I put the hairspray on, because I don't want, it's got so many layers of paint, I don't want to keep building up. But sometimes if you clear coat, it does give you a better barrier against scratching. So if you are doing something with chipping, like if you're doing the whole fuselage or something, perhaps a thin coat of clear over the silver before you put your hairspray on will make the silver a lot tougher, and it will make the chipping a lot easier as well. So there we go. Right, I will see you in a minute. So there we got all the green done and the red and the yellow, as you can see. So we'll leave that for a while now, and then we'll give it some chipping. Something I have found here, which is great because I can show you. This is what happens, if you can see that on the surface there, on that corner where I'm pointing, top left. That's what happens if you A, put too much hairspray on, B, try and paint too soon after you've put the hairspray on, or C, as I've done, over thin the paint. Now I've thinned this Mr. Hobby with X20A Tamiya thinners, and I thinned it a lot, so it was like sort of probably 30% paint, 70% thinners to get a nice thin mist coat on. And you can see what it's done, because it's thin, I've got a little bit too much paint in that area and it's dissolved the hairspray. And you can see you get this horrible mess. Now if you want something that looks like that, it's great, and what you can do is put the hairspray on quite heavy, thin your paint, and then paint it after about 10 minutes, and you will get this broken off, peeling up, crazed effect. Like if you wanted to depict something that's had heat under it and it's burnt the paint away, I think it gives you a very, very good effect. I'm going to have a little play in the background, and then I think I might make a video on what we can do with hairspray and how we can play with it. But you know, at the end of the day, it's not a problem. I will just put that in some IPA for an hour, all that paint will come off, and I'll just start again. Not an issue, not at all. All the rest of them's fine. They're all good, there's no issues at all with these. But we'll see how it chips. If it doesn't chip very well, then we'll strip all of it. But it's the end of the day, it's not a big job. But these wings, I know, I'm sorry, they're a bit boring, aren't they? Because it just goes on and on and on and on, because you've got so much work to do before you can put the wings together. You've got to get the guns in, you've got to get the ammo boxes in, you've got to get the ejector chutes in, and then we've got to get the wing together. But you can see how it's going to look. It's going to look great down in there. So there we are. You might notice in a couple of areas the paint's a bit thin and you can see the silver through it. That's sort of almost on purpose, because I think that's how they really would have been. Because this was basically like an anti-corrosive paint that they put on. It was a yellow zinc base, the yellow zinc chromate. It was kind of this colour, and then they added some black to it to make it more green, to take the brightness away. So that was how they did it. And the colour varies because the instruction was to add a black paint number blah 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 blah, or a black pigment blah 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 blah, whichever one they had. And they it is believed that sometimes the instructions were misinterpreted and they added both, so you ended up with two lots of black, so you get this darker green and this lighter green. But there we go. So we're going to let all that dry now for a couple of hours. Oh god, and then we're going to do some chipping. Welcome back. Okay, so if you remember, I said I was going to strip this door because it had that dodgy paint on it. Well, of course I've got spares from my other kit. I've got 3 of these kits. So the other one has started, the FEA one, that's all closed up, so I've used the doors from that one. I also noticed the sprue connection points on the back here, and they can actually be seen when the doors are open, so I decided to get them off, do them up, and get them on there. So they've been silver painted and hairspray, so next time I've got some interior green out, we'll do them. So what we can do here first of all is I can just show you, if you didn't see my beginner's video on the subject, this is just tap water, and all I'm going to do is just get this paint nice and wet. And you can see that one of the troubles with Mr. Hobby, it's got a slight sheen to it, so the water kind of aquaplanes on the surface, if you like. Aquaplanes? That's not the right word, is it? It just doesn't build up. But it will actually work. It will soak into there and it will soften the paint. Whereas you see you've got the Tamiya paint, which is dead flat, and when I brush the water on there, it just sort of stays on there. Okay, so what we're going to do is wet it. If we get any puddling water, I'm going to just soak it up, because puddling water can make things, it makes the paint come off far too easily. So we just want to wet it and just leave it to wet. Just leave it to soak, I mean not leave it to wet. I can't even get my words out today. So I'm going to do a bit of chipping here and then we're going to call it a day for this video, because I want to get one out there, a Hellcat video out there for you, because I know a lot of you guys absolutely love this project and a lot of you get really excited when I start working on it. What are we doing? Rubbing the cotton bud on there. So just remove some of that moisture just so the surface stays damp. There we go. So on this one, this is like my practice piece for the wing section, really, just to see how easily it chips. We can see it's not really coming off very, it is coming off, but it's actually coming off very nicely. If you can see on those ridges, if you could imagine, those raised ridges are what would get chipped, because I believe these could also be a platform they can stand on or something, it said. It says in the walk around. So yeah, if we go a little bit over the top of them and go sort of a little bit random and try and get some random scratches going on in different directions without using the paintbrush. There we go. As you can see, that looks quite authentic. So that's what we'll do with them. As for these boxes, we'll try it on an edge first to see how easy it chips. That's nice. Okay, so just chip the edges and the corners. As you can see, what I'm doing is just touching the surface. We've got that bit in the middle there as a handle, so we can literally rub the paint off of all of that. And obviously it would be chipped under there. Okay, so we can do the same on this one. Just rub it off that handle. There we go, and it would be chipped in there, chipped around the edges. As you can see, I'm not sort of scraping across it. All I'm doing is just, if you like, heavily tapping it. Just like so. You can have one more beaten up than the others, just to make one look more used. That handle. And then what I'll do once this is done, I'll give it a clear coat, a flat coat, or even a semi-gloss coat, just to seal it in, and then we can work on our bullets then, painting them. Get that handle properly cleaned up. we go. And then I'll wet this one again because it's, maybe I didn't do it at all, maybe it's not dried out, maybe it didn't ever get any water on it. But, so there you go, you get the idea, and we can do the same thing on the wing area. Obviously get some chips down in there as well, just like so. Okay, so let's just do a yellow one, see how that looks. Just to get a bit of water on there. Again, we'll use the same end because it's got red paint all over it. Rub the chips off of that handle. This yellow doesn't seem to want to chip so easily, so let's get it wet again and let it soak in a bit longer. That's the thing, if it doesn't chip easily, it's best to walk away and come back, because if you try too hard, you start to take off big areas and it's too much. You really want to get like fine little chips in there. And then once they've had a wash and a paint and everything, highlighted and everything, they're going to look great. In fact, the yellow is going to be a lot more subtle because it's not so easy to chip. So it's better to have it harder to chip than easy. When it's easy, it just all comes off and it just doesn't look natural. This looks much better. So we just brush the dust and the debris off. There you go, you can see there's that one all chipped up. And as I say, once they've had a wash, they'll look great. And there we are. Happy with that. Whoops. I've just thrown the cocktail stick across the room. Let's pick it up to make sure Jess doesn't get hold of it. There we go. I'm going to go around the edges now, because obviously the edges would be chipped a lot more than the top. Really chuck a bit in here, will get knocked about. And put some water around the edge of this one. Yeah, I haven't got enough water on the edges of them, so we'll go around the edges. We'll go around the edges and we'll see how it looks. As you can see, I've got some overspray on here. I need to touch these up, or maybe even a tiny little bit of IPA will take that off, because it's in fact, because I don't think it has hairspray in there, does it? I don't think it'll chip off, but because it's only got X20 thinners, yeah, it has coming off. It's come off great. But because it's only X20 thinners, I think I must have hairsprayed these before I put the masking on. I thought I'd mask them off before I hairsprayed them. So that's come off great on there. Brilliant. Right, so let's go around these sides, see if I can get some chipping going on. So you can see it's just random, just tapping it, just randomly removing paint. And as I say, those green boxes, they would be chipped as well, but I don't think we're going to see them. If we can, I'm going to have to take them out and paint them red and yellow, because I don't think they're supposed to be green. I think Airfix got that bit wrong. Right, so there we are. I'm going to carry on and do some chipping on here. Again, it should be quite easy. It's obviously going to be these areas here where the ammunition boxes go, where it's going to be more. So we're just going to get it wet. Ooh, misses. So we'll just get them wet. We get water all around inside here as well. It would be chipped round there where the guns get pulled back. There's a hatch in the back of the wing here. That's where the guns come out. So obviously that they be all chipped on the outer wing as well. These guns, I doubt if they took them out with much care. If you've never tried this hairspray technique, give it a go. It's bloody brilliant. It's very, very satisfying. And of course, what you're trying to achieve is the look of scratches on the paint. And what you're doing is actually putting scratches in the paint. So it's really, I mean, you can see on there, it looks great. It looks really authentic. So I'm not sure how much of this is going to be seen actually, because when this, oh, I've just snapped that, idiot. When this goes in here, like so, yeah, those, you can see none of those top edges will be seen. It's only these edges here that are going to be seen. So what we will do is just chip the tops of these. As you can see, what I'm doing is just tapping. You know, paint doesn't get chipped carefully, it gets chipped because stuff slams into it, so it doesn't need to be perfect. And all down here, and on here as well, all down here will be chipped. Down inside there, where they pull those guns through. That'll all be scratched in there. This Mr. Hobby paint needs longer for the water to get it going, but once it gets it going, it does chip lovely. There we go, you can see we've got some nice scratches on the bottom of there now. Get some scratches in here. I don't think much else would really be scratched, because they might get, when they put the barrels in, they might knock up into here a bit. As I say, I'm not sure how much of this you can see. It's like they've got all this riveting here. You can't see any of it. So get some scratches going on there. Rub some paint off those rivet heads. And there we go, look. I'm not sure how much you're going to see of this, but hey ho, it's all part of the fun, isn't it? I'm not sure that's correct, because they've got that hole there, and they're saying that's where they say that's where they pull the guns out. Well, I'm not sure that hole there would allow the gun to go out. May as well chip up those rivets as well, haven't we? We may as well. And here, get some water on there. Should be able to chip that with a brush actually. There we go. You can see there now we've got the chipped up look in there. So there we are. All this talk about chips is making me hungry. You can see down there, once the water gets to work with it, you could use a brush to chip if you want to get that sort of, just that worn out look, like it's been walked on or stepped in or whatever. I mean, obviously in there wouldn't be walked on, but As you can see, we're using this brush now, we're getting a great chipping effect just by using a brush. So that's what it doesn't need to be beat to hell. I mean, this aircraft isn't going to be beat to hell, but it would certainly be chipped, and these would certainly be chipped. And then we're also going to chip these as well. You can see we've had the effect there of the paint being too thin, so they've kind of chipped themselves because I mixed the paint too thin. But we can get some more water on. Get the hairspray working. Maybe I'll to chip that. It doesn't really want to. It doesn't want to let go, does it? There we go. There we are. So that's the upper surface, I believe. You can see the bottom surface has chipped itself. So that's good. There we go. As I say, once it's got a matte coat on it and it's had some washes and stuff, it will look wonderful. Well, as good as I can do it anyway. So there we go, guys. That's our chipping extravaganza done. The other thing I want to do is, just remembered, this is part of the ammo feed belt here, so what we could do is just scratch all the paint off of there, because that's got to be aluminium. So why overpaint it when you can just remove the green? I've just had to order a new seal for my airbrush. Now if you go to Bart Sharp and you get one of these airbrushes, it's £50 for that airbrush with 3 different cups, 2 quick connectors, 3 different needles, 3 different nozzles and the airline. Right, it's a quality airline as well. 50 quid. Seal kit for that airbrush, £3.99, and it also comes with a packet seal as well for the needle. This one, Water. What I've done, I soaked the body of the airbrush in thinners to give it a real good solid clean. This was my new one. Took it all apart, didn't realise that in the top of the cylinders there's an O-ring. I just didn't think, and it's rotted that O-ring. There's like a packing ring in the top. I might even replace it on video so you can see how it works. £12.49 for the O-ring. It must be 3mm OD and 1mm ID. £12.49. I've looked everywhere, I can't find anything equivalent. But I think what I'll do, when I get the new one, I'm going to measure it and see if I can find a cheaper alternative. Because £12.49 for one bloody O-ring, I think is an absolute joke. And it's not just one supplier. Everybody charges £12.49. But one thing worth looking at, I looked on eModels, and it was £12.49. But they want £4.99 postage to post a bloody O-ring, which was... Oh. Crazy. Still. I thought I'd get some paints and stuff, make it up to 35 quid I think it is, to make it free postage. And they didn't have any of the paints I wanted, so ended up getting it from the Airbrush shop. Airbrushes.com I think they're called. There we are, that's that done. Right, I'm going to bugger off. There's a bit of chipping in there. Get all those rivets exposed. I'm going to bugger off and I will see you for part 17. This has been part 16, hasn't it? I will see you for part 17. And what I'll do is I'll get these bullets and everything painted up. We'll get some washes and let's get it so it's ready to go together. Or I may actually do some washes with you so you can see how it goes. But I just want to crack on with this. These wings are taking far too long to put together. It's getting on my nerves, to be honest. It's quite boring. Having to do all this is just bloody stupid. So I will see you all for part 17, and we'll do something. I don't know what we're going to do. We'll do some weathering or whatever, and we'll get these wings together, because I want to show you how these wings together, because it's quite how they go together, because it's quite an involved task, and it takes a lot of work. A lot of people, when this kit first came out, a lot of people were building it with me, and a lot of people were complaining about putting this together, and it isn't easy at all. It is not easy at all. It's not good. So I'll see you all soon. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. It's been a bit shorter than usual, but hey, maybe you like them shorter. Thanks for watching. Bye.